Chapter 8. A God's Favor Comes My Way. A Job in Kipande House Labor Exchange for Women. Njeri, a college friend of mine from Moranga, and I took our usual city runs after lessons. The city excited us so much and it was a marvel. She told me to visit Kipande House where jobs were opening and interviews were going on. However, there was a rumor that nobody was passing the examination. I thought she was out of her mind. I told her, "But we are halfway our course. How can we go and do the interview?" I declined. The next day she told me the same thing and I declined again. The third day she told me I will go and I'll do it, and I failed just like the others. I told her to go and do it and fail. She went sure enough. After 1 hour, she came back and told me she had failed. The fourth day she told me, "Today I'll make sure you do the best and fail like all of us." When we got to Kipande House, she encouraged me to make an attempt. She escorted me, and because of her nagging, I agreed to go and do the test. I met Mrs. Chairman, the Asian woman who was the labor office secretary. She called the one who was in charge of the test, Grace. She gave me the test, which I did, and halfway the set time, I was through with the test. Grace was astonished and asked me, "How did you do it with such a speed and without any mistake?" Then she marked the time on the test papers and exactly went and handed it over to Miss Chana. Miss Chana asked, "Who did this marvelous work?" "Bring her." Grace escorted me to Miss Chana's office. She asked me, "Did you do this?" I said yes. "What is your name?" "Mary," I said. She then went into the labor office with my test papers. When she came out, she told me, "Go and come back tomorrow with your certificates." I got more confused with the unfolding events. However, I went home and came back the next day with my papers. Njeri, my friend, disappeared in thin air and I never saw her ever again. Word had spread like bushfire to all working in the labor office Kipande House and to all job seekers of the day, since Kipande House was labor exchange for women. Skilled and unskilled white industrial labor office was labor exchange for skilled and unskilled men. Miss Binet, an old European woman, very slim with hair dyed purple and a chain smoker, was in charge of the skilled labor department, where all black lady called Modoni headed the unskilled labor department. When I came in the morning the next day, there was a protest march led by Miss Binet, who, upon learning that I had passed the test, had contested it. Miss Chana took my papers and went into the labor office. Then Miss Binet stormed Miss Chana's office, followed by a huge crowd of women and girls, work seekers. She was screaming to Miss Chana, saying she cannot take that lying down. She shouted, "This girl hasn't passed that test." She was literally screaming, and Miss Chana could not take her nonsense. Therefore, Miss Chana told me, "Don't worry, sit here on my chair, don't budge until we scare this with the labor office." Miss Chana, Miss Binet, Mr. Omondi held a closed-door meeting for a whole hour upstairs. Miss Chana, a huge tall Indian woman with long flowing saris, spread her long arms, pushed the crowd of well-fed and well-dressed Nairobi women of that time, and escorted them downstairs to Miss Bennett's office, which was on the ground floor. Then she came up and told me that Binet insisted that I had to be sent to the Director of Personal Bureau in Harambee House for another exam. This time I will go with Miss Bond, who was going to do the same exam. We both went to Harambee House and did the exam. I passed, but again Binet was not satisfied. She continued with her protest. I don't know what happened to Miss Bond, but Miss Binet insisted that I needed to be sent to Kenya Government Secretarial College, which was located on State House Road next to University of Nairobi Students' Health of Residence. This time around, Miss Bennett added another 29 girls for that exam. We all went, the 30 of us, and did it. By the time I was so stressed by Miss Bennett's behavior, I resolved not to go to Kipande House anytime soon after the exam. I therefore decided to be going to college only. A whole month passed and I decided to pass through the labor office and check what happened. Outside Kipande House was a temporary timber structure which served as Maendeleo Wanawake National Office then, but of what is it today? Loiter Street, which was just a bushy footpath, and is where we used to approach Kipande House from college, which was located on Bazaar Street then, now Biashara Street. We crossed the Market Street and Koinange Street then, joined the bushy path to Kipande House opposite GPO Teleposta Towers on Kenyatta Avenue. While I was walking on the bushy footpath approaching Kenyatta Avenue, I saw vaguely somebody at the end of the footpath beckoning. I turned and saw nobody behind me. I continued walking, but halfway I saw it was a woman with long, flowing saris, and it struck me immediately that it was Miss Chana. As I approached her, her arm moved more quickly and I noticed she was telling me to hurry up. I walked quickly, almost ran. As I reached where she was, she asked me, "Aren't you Mary?" I told her, "I'm Mary." It has never stopped amazing me how she noticed my form when I was more than 200 meters away. Then she said, "You passed the exam a long time ago and you are the only one who passed. We have been looking for you for a month now. We are about to go to announce you over the radio. Go quickly to the labor office. He's about to start his car to go for lunch and go and let him know you have come." Then her husband, Miss Shannon Singh, who was a High Court judge, arrived immediately. She got into the car and they drove off for lunch. I went and found Mr. Omondi behind the wheel igniting his car. He repeated Miss Shannon's words and repeated they were about to announce me over the radio. He called Grace and told her to show me the desk in the office. I met Miss Bangaza, an Indian gone girl. Those days, there was a Kenyization bureau whereby the white-collar jobs that were denied Kenyans, Africans, or only given to Europeans and Asians by colonial government were being given to African Kenyans. Therefore, I Kenyanized Miss Baganza. As for Miss Bennett, I never saw her again. Maybe when she realized how wrong she was by denying me my right, she decided it was better for her to resign than to face me. I never asked Miss Shanna and I wondered why she behaved the way she had behaved. I totally failed to understand the reason of her protest. As soon as I sat on my table, all women work seekers came in, each with their different opinion. Some thought I was the only little girl who did not have a problem, even did not deserve a job. The ones who commented that way might have been right, but others were wrong, especially those who had suggested that I must have been fixed through oiling of the palm or some influential person must have helped me. My friend Jerry never came and I never saw her again, but thank God she was an angel sent to push me to my miracle. I had earlier thought my uncle, who was a personal officer in the Ministry of Home Affairs, was the one to employ me later after college, but he was also caught up by surprise when he found out that I had been employed. The other mysterious thing was that I never saw Miss Bennett again. I never knew whether she resigned or she found out that I was the only one who passed the exam among the 30 girls and women. Maybe she felt so ashamed she could not take it and to wait for me to start working there. I never asked what happened to her. Miss Chan was a very good woman who helped me so much. Though I was not saved then, I saw God's hand in that issue. After my orientation in the job for several months, I asked if I would like to go to my near hometown, which was Kiambu. They told me there was an opening in labor office in Kiambu. I agreed to be transferred to Kiambu and I was sent there. Helen Musa was sent to Thika as a labor inspector and I took her place in Kiambu. In Kiambu, all was fine except for the boss who had strange character of haughtiness. He was so proud that if he decided to leave his vehicle parked and decided to walk up his street, he will walk bending his head to avoid talking or greeting to those he may meet on the way. Instead of solving the problems of laborers from various coffee estates around Kiambu, he would instead chase them away saying they were dirty. I just felt so bad since most of them were bringing complaints of non-payment of their wages for months. On one end, they were very poor people who needed his help. Most of them just broke down in tears and went and never came back to that office. The curse of the masses started catching up because he fell in and miserable. I was now in Kiambu town. Resident had been given the house Helen was used to stay. One day my brother Sam came to visit from Isili Air Base. I escorted him to the Kiambu PSV stage near the Kiambu market. As we walked, he suddenly stopped the near market side gate on the main Nairobi Kiambu Githongori road. He greeted a handsome-looking young tall man who was leaning on the bonnet of a car. He introduced me to Leonard Kimani, with whom they worked in Air Force. More about this young man is coming.